Hello, everyone. Welcome to Durrett's Take on a wonderful Monday to start off our new week. Unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of things that happened over the weekend. Soccer in Europe started this past weekend without fans. So that was pretty interesting. UFC fight has been going on, but even though I don't care about those sports, at least that's something, and we're heading in the right direction to eventually have sports again, hopefully. But for this episode, I'm going to focus a lot on college football today. So there's been some things that's been discussed. Of course, with everything happening, there's something that SEC analyst Paul Feinbaum said that's pretty interesting. He said that if some schools are able to play this year, but then some schools aren't, then you can see a big, massive case of everyone dive into the transfer portal and transferring to different schools so that they can play immediately. And if this ends up being the case, then yeah, this is a big deal. It'll be a big disadvantage to the teams that have the players leave them because now they got to scramble and find recruits or other smaller school transfers or something like that to kind of fill the spots. And then for this, and then the problem is that I feel like it would be just too. I feel like it just wouldn't work out. And here are two reasons why I feel like that scenario, the Paul Feynman said, would work out. So let's say the first scenario is if the school doesn't play, then anyone can transfer. And like I just said there, you're going to lose players, and even if you allow them to transfer back after this season, unless they're a senior or something like that, of course, but or going to the draft. But let's say they're like a sophomore, so they transfer back, it's just still going to create chaos. Basically, it's just not going to work out. So then you have the option of allowing seniors only or draft eligible players only to transfer. But then the problem with that is that um, most schools do not have enough scholarships to go around for transfers coming in. Now, there's a transfer that could be like, well, I'm willing to play as a walk on at a different school, but most are not going to want to do that. Most are going to want to have a scholarship. I just don't really see that scenario working out. So again, this is why I feel like we should just wait to begin 2021 if things have to be so complicated for this fall. Because I'd rather do this fall if things don't have to be complicated. But if it does have to be complicated, then it's just easier to wait to 2021. Also, some other college football news is that the SEC is going to meet later on this week, on May 22nd, I believe, to decide if they're going to open their facilities for June or not. And my prediction is that they're going to delay. They're not going to open it. They're just going to revisit the issue in June or maybe July. But this would be very interesting if the SEC decides to do it, because since the SEC is the best football conference, if they decide to open their facilities early, you may get a lot of other conferences that may follow suit and try to do what the SEC is doing, and therefore we can get on a right track to having a normal football season. Now we still have plenty of time, so the players need about 6 weeks or so to train. So that basically gives us at the latest 2 months from now. We kind of need to know now. Okay, is the season going to start on time or not? So a lot can happen within 2 months. I'm still pretty optimistic and confident that we can have a football season, of some type, of some capacity. So now I'm going to go over my another top 10 list I created. So last week I created a top 10 list for NFL quarterbacks, and I saw a list of top college football quarterbacks recently, and I wanted to go over my top 10 college football quarterbacks for this upcoming season. Now, there's a couple qualifications for this list. If someone's never played a snap before and they're a rookie, then they're not going to be on this list. Also, if a quarterback just transferred to a different school and is playing, like Houston's Derek King transferring to Miami, or Wake Forest's Jimmy Newman transferring to Georgia, like I'm not counting those either, especially with this mainly because with the unnormal of an off season that we have, I just feel like it's going to take time for them to develop the connections and stuff like that. Also, I did not include players that were obviously the team's leading star because, like for example, Mac Jones from Alabama could be on this list, but there's reports that he's going to be in heated competition with another quarterback, so he may not even win the starting job. So therefore, I didn't want to include him. So, without further ado, here is my top 10 list. Actually, first, I want to go over my honorable mentions. Quarterbacks that could be on this list and by the season's end could end up being on the list, but right now I have them barely out. I want to start off with Tanner Morgan, quarterback from Minnesota. He has good leadership qualities, and he helped put Minnesota on the map last year. He was phenomenal. Um, he he's kind of a one trick, maybe two trick pony, if you will. And what I mean by that is that if he has a game plan, he can execute it, and when he executes it, he's really good. But the team's like, okay, we're not going to allow you to do that game plan. We might not allow you to do your backup quick, but you have to do it this way. Can you beat us this way? That's where he's not really comfortable quite. That's why Wisconsin was able to beat him last year, and they were able to get to the Big Ten championship game instead of Minnesota. So that'll be something for him to kind of develop as he's a upperclassman now. But we'll see how that goes. Spencer Sanders from Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's naturally good on offense. They have their running back, Heisman contender running back Chua Hubbard coming back, and their best wide receiver coming back in Wallace. They have a bunch of weapons, and it's the Big 12, so they don't play good defense. This is the chance for Spencer Sanders to put up good numbers. The reason why he's not on the top 10 list and what he kind of struggled with last year was the turnovers. If he can clean that up, he could be a good quarterback this upcoming season. Next is Shane Buechele from SMU. So SMU is kind of like the air raid offense, so it's going to make the quarterback's numbers look excellent and stats look excellent. But the problem is that they're kind of like empty calorie stats or numbers, if you will. Because first of all, they're not playing the Power 5 conference, so the defenses are going to be easier to expose. And then second of all, I feel like it's like they're either going to have such a big lead or they're going to be down trying to come back that they're just going to get a bunch of, like I said, empty calorie yardage. It's going to make him look impressive, but overall, he's just not going to be a top 10 quarterback, in my opinion. Unless he helps SMU go undefeated or something, or get to a New Year's Six bowl game, then that's where we can reconsider things. Next is Sean Clifford, the quarterback from Penn State. See, he was underrated last year. I mean, first year as a starter after replacing Trace McSorley, he led a team to 11 wins. I mean, his only two losses were to a playoff team in Ohio State, which he did too bad against, and then against a good Minnesota team that came down right to the wire. So he had a pretty good year. The only problem and reason why he's not in the top 10 is because he did lose his best receiver, KJ Hamler, who got drafted by the Denver Broncos. So he's got to find a new best wide receiver, and that may take time again with the unusual offseason that they're going to have. And then the last one, and this one's really a wild card, is Bo Nix from Auburn. So he's inconsistent, which is why he's not in the top 10 as of right now. Like he can beat Alabama one week and then struggle against, like, pathetic against Georgia another week. Now Georgia's a good defense, so it's not shameful to look bad against them, but still, it's just like he's just kind of too consistent as a freshman, beating Auburn, but losing to Minnesota team that was a good team, but they could have beaten type of thing. So just kind of too much inconsistency there. So now with Tua gone from Alabama and LSU having to find a new quarterback and new offensive and defensive coordinator, this is the chance for Bo Nix as a sophomore. Hopefully he doesn't take a sophomore slump, but he can improve, and this is his chance to kind of take over the SEC West. And in my eyes, if he can continue and be more consistent and continue to develop, he can be a top 5 quarterback, let alone a top 10 quarterback. He's that talented. So now, without further ado, let's go over my top 10 list. Number 1 is obviously Trevor Lawrence. He hasn't lost a game until the LSU championship game, which LSU was a very great team. No shame in that. There's not much more to say. He's just awesome, and he should be the number 1 pick next year. Justin Fields is second, and some people can even call him 1B to Trevor Lawrence's 1A, if you will. But I feel like he's second best, and the problem with Justin Fields is that he loses a lot more weapons than Trevor Lawrence does, losing J.K. Dobbins, losing a couple wide receivers, and so because it's a Ohio State, they should be able to reload and retool just fine, but it's definitely going to be different. Third is Ian Book from Notre Dame. Book's just a winner. If you look over his past 2 seasons, so out of his 3 losses that he's had over 2 season span, which is pretty good in itself, one of those losses was in the playoffs to Clemson, who won the championship. Another loss was at Georgia, who was a top 5 team and they were able to keep it close. It was a 1-possession game at the end. And then the other one was a top 20 Michigan team on the road in Michigan in a weird weather game. And also, since Notre Dame's slightly independent, they're not going to play a lot of teams multiple times each year, but Michigan was able to get second look at a book after playing him the season before, so that was an advantage for Michigan. But yeah, so those 3 losses, and nothing too bad there whatsoever. He performed good numbers, and he's lived up to playing against pretty good competition. So I expect him to lead Notre Dame to another 10-win season. Next is Sam Ehlinger from Texas. So Oklahoma will have a rookie QB, and Sam is now a senior. That means as long as Texas defenses can live up to their potential and not screw things up, then this is his conference to lose, and he should win the Big 12 championship finally. He just needs to avoid the scratching losses and just put up good numbers, and he'll do just fine. Next is Jaden Daniels from Arizona State. So as a freshman, he only had 2 interceptions the whole season. That is super impressive, because a lot of times, like even seniors have, even good quarterbacks or seniors can have 10 interceptions. So the fact that he only had 2 interceptions as a freshman, pretty good. The only problem was the defense a lot was inconsistent. So that's why like they were able to upset Oregon and ruin their playoff chances, but then they can't beat other teams that they should have beat. So again, I expect him to not take a sophomore slump and then take a huge leap. Especially with Utah shouldn't be as good in the Pac-12 South as usual. So Arizona State just has to compete with USC for the best, not only in the Pac-12 South, but for the best in the Pac-12 in general. Next is Sam Howell from North Carolina. By the end of last year, he was really good. I saw him in person live in their bowl game against Temple last year, and he was just phenomenal. I don't expect him to take a sophomore slump whatsoever, especially since it has to play in the ACC, which is not the best Power 5 conference, and he also plays in a division where it's not the best division within the ACC. So he should be just fine, and he should lead North Carolina to a 10-win season this season. I expect him to take that big of a jump. The next one is Keaton Slovis from USC. The one thing he needs to fix on is turnovers and his inconsistencies, because there's a reason why at sometimes last year he looked phenomenal, but then when it came to the big boys against like Oregon, Washington, he could perform as well. This is a chance for USC, like with Oregon, Washington replacing new quarterbacks and stuff, and Washington replacing a new coach. Like this is their best chance to kind of reclaim the crown of the Pac-12, basically. And if he can just cut those turnovers at least in half, then he's definitely going to be a Heisman contender. And because he's a high risk, high reward quarterback. Number 8 is Brock Purdy from Iowa State. Now that he's an upperclassman now, and the Big 12 doesn't have good defense, and Oklahoma's question mark and stuff like this, is his chance to put Iowa State on his shoulders and lead them to somewhere they haven't been in a long time. So in my opinion, if Iowa State's not top 3 in the Big 12 after this season, then that's considered a disappointment. Technically, I feel like he should be able to make it to the Big 12 championship game, whether they face Oklahoma or Oklahoma State or Texas. So I feel like Brock Purdy's going to perform well this year, and he needs to. I feel like he's a top 10 quarterback, and he'll do just fine. Number 9 is Kyle Trask from Florida, and this is very interesting because this may be a surprise pick to you. So when he replaced Felipe Franks last year, the Florida team got better. He has another year in a Dan Mullen system, and I expect him to kind of make a Burrow type of leap, if you will, because Burrow's just kind of average junior, and then all of a sudden made a leap senior. I don't expect him to make that huge of a leap per se, but he should make a leap from his junior senior year now with more experience under his belt. Watch out for Florida; they're going to be a dark horse team next year. And the last one's Kellen Mond from Texas A&M. This also may surprise you, but the 2 reasons why A&M was not good last year was A, Texas A&M's offensive line didn't hold up, so Mond didn't have a lot of time to throw the ball. And also the Texas A&M, especially in their secondary, was very young and inexperienced and just not that great. But now with Mond as a senior, everyone else is getting more and more experience. Kellen Mond should be able to kind of get back to where he was in 2018, where he was putting up a bunch of points and 70-plus over LSU's and stuff like that. So I expect Kellen Mond to be a bit like a dark horse candidate for the Heisman, because I expect A&M to finally bounce back. So those are my top 10 quarterbacks: Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Ian Book, Sam Ehlinger, Jaden Daniels, Sam Howell, Keaton Slovis, Brock Purdy, Kyle Trask, and Kellen Mond. So let me know what you think of this list. Thank you very much for listening today. I look forward to for my show tomorrow. So let me know again if you have any suggestions on topics that you'd like to hear about. And everyone have a wonderful day.